Hello, Namaste, and welcome to Delhi. I'm Davina Gupta, and this is Work Life India on the BBC, the show that looks at all things to do with money, the work we do, and the lives we lead. Now, how much would you be willing to spend to rent a womb for your baby? That's a question that many people have to face when planning a child through commercial surrogacy, where they pay a woman to carry their child. This is also called rent a womb service. In India, the entire process could cost up to $30,000. That's actually much cheaper than many other countries where this process is legal. But the government claims it is exploitative and wants to end it. So we're asking, should commercial surrogacy be banned? Commercial surrogacy is a multi-million-dollar industry in India. A United Nations-backed study in 2012 puts the size of the industry at more than $400 million. Rough estimates show nearly 2,000 babies are born through surrogacy every year. In 2015, India put a stop to commercial surrogacy for foreigners. Now a draft law has been introduced in the lower house of the parliament to ban it for Indians as well. To talk more about it, we have with us Sandeep Soparkar, a famous choreographer who has made Britney Spears, Madonna, Shakira dance to his steps and is one of the first male celebrities to adopt a child way back in 2008. Welcome, Sandeep.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Lovely to be here on your show.
Well, Sandeep, I have to ask you this. Why didn't you consider commercial surrogacy at that time?
Well, very simple. I didn't have that kind of money at all.
Okay.
$30,000 is a lot of money. I don't have that kind of money. And I also believe that a child is born, it's not the blood that is thicker. It is just the bonding that you have with the child makes you grow with the child and makes the relationship better. So I think adoption was the only option for me, and I'm very happy I did it.
It's a wonderful thought. And hold on to it, because I want to come back to you to ask you more about it. We also have Professor Mohan Rao. He's a leading academician in India and also is holding multiple panels for public health policies in India. Professor Rao, which side of the debate do you stand? Should India ban commercial surrogacy?
I think India should ban commercial surrogacy. I think commercial surrogacy is a form of labor which I do not think should be recognized as legitimate labor. I think it belongs to the other kinds of labor which we do not permit. We do not permit slavery, we do not permit bonded labor, we do not permit child labor, and so on. And so to recognize it as any other kind of labor which should be compensated is a deeply problematic position which comes from looking at things through the lens of reproductive choice. That does not give us reproductive justice.
So should India ban commercial surrogacy?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Preeti Gupta, leading IVF specialist in this field for 19 years, who has met a lot of parents who won't believe what Mohan has just said.
Absolutely not.
And, but let me ask you this, because it's a very strong statement that Mohan has made. Can you compare commercial surrogacy, where there is a mother who is hired for just having a baby in her womb for 9 months, then has to give it away to someone else, gets money for it, and that's legal for Indians in India. Can you compare it to slavery and child
Not at all.
bondage?
Can you legalize begging? Do you want her to beg? Do you want her to go for prostitution? She's choosing a way. It's her body, and she is choosing a way. There are people, if you come to meet these surrogates, there are people who do not have any other option. And this is one option which can give them some, it's their choice, and they can give them money who can take care of their family, their children. There are people coming to me who, they're young people having 2 children, left their husband has left them, they're alone. Who will take care of them? Will the government come? Who will come and take care?
Well, Dr. Preeti, you're saying that these women who are mostly from economically weaker background, but do they have a choice? Because what seems is that this is a way of making money. They're taking the chance. According to United Nations Human Rights report last year, they said children are at risk of being commodities as surrogacy spreads and usually amounts to the sale of children.
No, that is where legalization needs to come there. That is where regulation needs to come. That they need to be taken care of by the government, The government needs to make sure that these surrogates are protected. They need to give them benefits, incentives, that they might give them job, that they're doing such a good job, and they can take care of their education and everything.
But
so I think
But I
that
also
is
want
where
to ask,
regulation needs to
all
come
right,
in.
I want to ask you, Sandeep, if there is a woman who is in a difficult position, she needs money desperately, she chooses a line of work, and that is to be a mother, a surrogate mother for another couple, which is desperately needing a child, and you are a single parent. You understand the hope with which parents adopt such procedures. It is a joy of having a child in the
Right.
family. Why raise objections?
I think a woman is, if she's doing it willingly, I think there is no other option but to allow that. But I would say regulating it is very important, because the biggest problem right now that what we are facing is that there is no regulation at all, and that is what is creating the problem.
And Mohan, I want to ask you this. Countries like Russia, countries like Ukraine have legalized commercial surrogacy, even for foreigners. Why is this debate in India? And we are the second most populous country in the world. Clearly, there is a huge social construct and pressure on mothers, on families to produce a child.
I think that is actually a big problem. And I think surrogacy is no solution because it strengthens the problem. I believe surrogacy strengthens patriarchy, strengthens this idea of bloodlines, strengthens ideas of caste, strengthens ideas of endogamous marriages, and those are problems for Indian women.
Why do you say it strengthens the idea of caste, which is actually a social hierarchy and a very unique hierarchy
What
in
what
India?
you're trying to do here is actually to create bloodlines, and that is what caste is about. Endogamy is about that. Okay? Now, the other thing I would like to say is that, I mean, it's a dismal situation if you want to compare ourselves with either Ukraine or Russia, because these are also the countries which are at the bottom of the international hierarchy in selling women's body parts. They're also the largest exporters of oocytes, for example. They also sell fetuses, which are very important in the cosmetics industry. So it's important also to look at surrogacy within the larger global bioeconomy, which goes into trillions of dollars and is dependent upon body parts which are
But
mined
what about
from
right to
women.
livelihood for women? What about right to livelihood for women?
I mean, this is amazing that this is seen as an anti-poverty measure. You
I think it's
Now,
just
what should
Okay,
you do
Dr.
to a
Preeti.
lady who comes to my clinic and she's offering that she can help? She doesn't have any way. What should she do? You tell me. What is the alternative you have for her, or the lawmakers have for her? Are you going to give her a job? Are you going to give? Is somebody going to?
I think those are questions we should ask ourselves.
So till the
and
time,
not, I'm
till
sorry,
the time we have raised our society, we have changed our society, that we have educated our women. Till the time we have raised the level of till that time.
Okay,
These
but
things need to change, but it will take time, Devina.
it will take time. But let me tell you, I actually went to a surrogate hostel in Delhi. And when I spoke to women there, one thing which was very clear is, look, we don't have any other option right now. We want respectable jobs, which are not available for us.
Yes, absolutely.
And we want dignity of labor, which is not there. There are not enough options for women to work. After all, India just has 27% women in their workforce.
and it's coming down. Women's workforce participation rates are coming down. They've shrunk sharply in the last
Yes,
20
Mohan.
years.
Yes, Mohan. But I want to take our audience through the entire report that we have done for commercial surrogate women, because we need to hear from them, because it's easy to judge at this table and talk about it without looking at the reality on the ground. Let's now hear from the surrogate mothers who offer their wombs for other people's babies, get money for it. I met them at a hostel in Delhi where they stay away from their families for 9 months. It was quite a revealing experience for me. I'm in a small house in Delhi, which is a hostel for surrogate mothers. There are 2 rooms here with 8 beds facing each other. There is an air conditioner, a television, and a cook, which is a luxury for the surrogate mothers here who are from underprivileged background. They have to stay here during the course of their pregnancy, where their diet and their medication is monitored very closely. I spoke to 23-year-old Jyoti, who's staying here with two of her children who are under the age of 5 and is 7 months pregnant. She tells me why she decided to be a surrogate mother.
शादी हो गई थी 17 साल की उम्र में मेरी शादी हो गई थी
I got married at the age of 17. My husband lied to me about his work. After marriage, I got to know he's an alcoholic. He was jobless and he used to beat me. I left him and came here with my 2 children. And I decided to be a surrogate mother now because my children are young and they won't ask me any awkward questions. Of course, I'll get good money as well. When I was pregnant with my own child, I never went to the hospital or had any medicines. I ate whatever I could manage. But now the intended parents bring fruits and medicines. I go to a hospital for regular checkups.
बच्चों को भी पता नहीं रहेगा और मुझे पैसों की भी हेल्प हो जाएगी
Jyoti found out about the surrogacy clinic online. She agreed to rent a room for nearly $7,200. But for Jyoti, there is one constant reminder that this baby is not hers.
कोई भी surrogate होती है ऐसे
A lot of surrogate mothers ask for a picture of their baby after the birth. They want to see how the child looks. But once you see a picture, you are hesitant to give your child to another person. So after giving birth, I don't want to see the child's face.
टाइम बच्चा देख लेंगे तो नहीं दे पाएगा कोई भी
Just 1 month ago, 34-year-old Rajkumari was a surrogate for a healthy baby girl. She stayed in the hostel for nearly 9 months and now comes here for a postnatal checkup with her own 3-year-old child. She tells me her husband supported this decision.
At first, my husband refused to give me permission because it's a long process for 9 months where we won't be living together. Then we talked about it. Our financial condition was getting worse, so he agreed. But I didn't tell my parents. They wouldn't understand. I just made an excuse that I got a job in a hospital and will be living there. In fact, after I gave birth to a girl, her parents came to thank me. It felt good that they didn't see me as a woman who's after money.
She wants to be a surrogate again to earn more money. When I ask her why not do another job, this is what she says.
What else can I do? Should I sell my kidney to get money? There aren't enough jobs. For women, it's not easy to work anywhere also. At least as a surrogate, you can live anywhere, at home or a hostel, and look after yourself and your family.
Well, Preeti, I know when it was going on, this piece, you were actually nodding and agreeing. And what struck me most is Rajkumari saying, should I sell my kidney?
Exactly.
What else should I do? But hear me out. Isn't this only the option for the poor who actually don't have any option and they're being exploited?
This is one of the options, see? This is one of the, I'm not saying it's the only option. I always tell my surrogate mothers, look for a job. And that's why I'm saying the government comes into picture. Give them jobs, give them education, give them the money that they're earning, put them in the bank. That is where we need to regulate. That is where we need to help these people. And that is why, so it's banning is not the solution. I was just telling an anecdote to Sandeep. I was telling him that one of my colleagues said, when my mother tells me to clean the room and I cannot clean the room, I just, which part I'm not clean, I just cover it. So that's what we are doing. We're just covering it, just finish it.
But
so
Sandeep, where do you see that some of these women actually are paid just 20% of the cost, which is for the entire process? As you rightly said in the beginning, it is a lot of money for anyone who wants to go through this route, despite the fact that India is a cheap destination for it. But these surrogate mothers actually get a fraction of that money.
That's true.
Do you think they're being shortchanged?
Oh, definitely, yes. They've been cheated by the middlemen, maybe by the doctors as
No,
well. I'm
please,
sorry,
Sandeep.
I don't know, but
You don't know the
I don't know
doctors
how
at
it
all.
would be.
We are very
But
nice people. We are
I'm
very
sure,
nice.
I'm
And I'm sure,
You
I'm
cannot
sure,
even say that.
I'm sure, but the
so
point
many-
is that
You
the
will not
system
believe
is
it.
like this.
Yeah.
The system is
Don't
like
know
this.
how it's
That
been
is just a fraction of
Sure.
money which goes to it. But Dr. Preeti, do you interact with the surrogates
I
directly?
do. I do talk to their husbands. I entirely talk to them that what are you going to do with this money? Why are you doing it? What makes you do it? Do you have any other option? And after confirming, I make sure that, they get the money. I tell them, do you know how much money you're going to get? Do you know at what point of time, how much money you're going to get? So I make sure that they know it. There was once a surrogate, she
Okay.
came to me and she said, ki, I don't know, they told me only if I deliver the baby, then. So I interjected and I stopped it.
Okay, but here's the fact, Mohan, because when we sit on this conversation and we speak about banning this practice and keeping the human cost of the surrogate mothers in mind, as we've said, there are a lot of celebrities who have actually taken this route, be it famous Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan, be it famous film producer in Bollywood Karan Johar, recently a television producer Ekta Kapoor, and internationally you have examples of Kim Kardashian, who's going through this surrogacy route for yet another child. When you see these trends where celebrities are openly talking about surrogacy, India is looking at a change of mindset as well.
Certainly, these are women who were earlier considered waste. They were sterilized. Those uteruses only dragged the nation down. And suddenly, out of waste, you're generating wealth. Your GDP is growing. CII welcomes it. FICCI welcomes it. Medical associations welcome it. But what does it say about how we treat women in our society? I think the whole idea of choice is rubbish because she's not allowed to choose. She can't even sign, this woman.
What about
adult.
choice
Her
for
husband
the
has to sign.
intended parents?
Her husband has to sign.
But there was a case of Jyoti who said she is a single person who's looking after her children and this is what she wants to do willingly. I want to move a step further and I want to ask, what about the choice of intended parents? Shouldn't there be a choice for somebody like Sandeep? Look, I need a child. I can try adoption or I can go through commercial surrogacy, but I need the choice.
I think choice is something vastly exaggerated by people who have a particular interest in something. Because, as I said, reproductive rights for some people comes in the wake of reproductive wrongs for others. And I think that is important to keep in mind.
These are strong statements. Sandeep, I wanted to ask you that recently, when this entire new bill or new legislation was being talked about in the parliament, an Indian's former minister, Sushma Swaraj, actually mentioned that commercial surrogacy is becoming a luxury, only for those who can afford it.
That's true.
While it needs to be a necessity. And while saying this, she said that there are certain celebrities who already have children and then going for surrogacy as well. Why do you think people in India are hesitant to go the route that you took, which is adoption?
I think there's stigma attached to the whole thing. Here you want your own blood. So you want to go for surrogacy and you want to go in for your own baby, your own blood. And I think somewhere we need to get that whole mindset cleared that even our Krishna, the Lord that we pray to, was adopted. And there is no harm in having an adopted child in your house because, like I said before...
It was a surrogacy, I guess it was not adopted.
Well, we can debate the Indian mythology, but what's happening at the moment is... it is a concern, Dr. Preeti, when the woman, Rajkumari, in that particular report said, if given a choice, I would go for it again. And that's been seen as a way of making money. And there are exploitative practices as well. In 2008, there was a case of baby Manji, a Japanese couple wanted a surrogate baby, and then they got divorced. So the baby was stranded in a legal battle. So how do you regulate this industry? Is it possible if somebody like Rajkumari comes to you and says, I want to be a surrogate, and you can check the background whether she's been a surrogate again?
No, it's very difficult to check the background. But if she comes to me and say, I'll definitely say, please, this is not good for your health. So that's where I'm saying the regulations need to come and they need to sort it out that, you know, for the benefit of the ladies only. So we are not exploiting
How do you
our
regulate
ladies.
it? Because in India, how many
The good
times
thing
can a
about the
person
new
be a
bill is
surrogate?
Once.
Once,
Once is
okay.
ideal. But the new bill says the certificate of essentiality and eligibility, which should be there, that she's eligible to be a mother. And it is essential for the couple who is commissioning that they actually need it. A celebrity couple who already has 2 children, I don't think surrogacy would be valid for them. You know.
Talking about the new bill, because I do see that there are a lot of contentious points in that bill. And Mohan, I want to take this question with you. The new bill actually says only infertile couples who are married for 5 years can opt for ethical surrogacy, which they have defined only a close relative who's also been married and has a child between the age of 25 to 35 years can be approached for this process. Now, how is it possible to have all these conditions met and also monitored?
I think I personally want would argue that there should be commercial surrogacy should be banned. If it is not banned, if it is to be allowed to heterosexual couples, I think it should be open to other kinds of couples as well. It should be open to LGBTQ couples. Why not? If you're allowing some, why should you privilege heterosexual couples? I think there's a profound problems with the idea of altruistic surrogacy because of the position of women in Indian society and Indian families. They're as much would be coerced into being altruistic surrogates, and the idea of economic coercion might not be the only one.
Dr. Preeti, could it lead to a situation of an underground surrogacy market?
Yes.
And how willing
I'd like
would
to
be
answer your
women?
previous question.
Yeah, would be women be in families to actually have baby of their close relative?
It's very difficult. We don't find any. I hardly find a couple who has a close relative, number one. Number two, the other challenges with this is that the child who is born out of it will always be, they'll be in a close family. Now here is a situation where, the surrogate has gone, so nobody knows it, and the child also does. But here the child will always be there. She's my mother, who's the mother? And the inheritance right, and that will, I think, further complicate the issue. So one thing, it is very difficult because you hardly have any relative of yours who's willing to rent a womb because it's a very difficult process. Giving birth is not easy. And second is the other challenges that I mentioned. That
So will there be an underground market? Because close relative
definitely.
could be anybody.
Anything
and it's
can
a gray
happen,
area.
yeah,
It is a gray area. But
By
so-
the same
yes, go ahead,
logic,
Mohan.
you should not then ban sales of kidneys. By the same logic.
But organ donation is altruistic in India.
Yes.
And you do not ask for money for in exchange of a kidney.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you say no ban on commercial surrogacy, by what logic are you saying that a ban on kidney sales is all right?
Dr. Preeti, do
kidney
you?
is removing the part of your body. Here you are not removing the part of your body. It's just renting it for the help of other couple. So you're not removing it.
And if this debate continues, Sandeep, and if this law is passed, given all the limitations that we've just talked about, do you think there could be more couples looking for adoption
Oh,
then?
definitely yes. If 2,000 surrogate babies are being born, I think at least 1,000 will be the case because they might not go for surrogacy. So at least 1,000 babies more would be adopted. Right now, as per the surveys, about almost 3,000 children approximately over the year that they're getting adopted. Here we've had some more coming in. So I think it'll be better because we already have so many children.
370,000 who
looking for
are looking
homes.
for care and homes. There is, however, a criticism and a lot of hesitation, Dr. Preeti, which we were talking about earlier, from parents who say that, look, we want that bond with a child. We want a child whom we can be able to see ourselves in. Having gone through adoption, do you want to tell us what's been your experience and how can people get across this mindset?
I think living with the baby, seeing the baby grow each day, cleaning the baby's potty every time, changing the diapers,
The journey
nappy,
of
the
it,
journey
yeah.
of it. When the first time child takes you, papa or mama, when the child calls out a name, that is what is bonding. Holding the hand, seeing them start walking, crawling, that's what creates the bond between the parent and the child. And it is not the blood, because I will always believe that love comes by being together, staying together, teaching the child things. That is where the whole affection builds in, and that is where only love will last forever.
Well, you're talking about a dream for many parents. And I would like to wrap up on this note because it's a very positive expression that you've said, Sandeep. However, I must concede there are no easy solutions on this one. It's a very complex discussion, but thank you for being part of it. And as we go, the point is a ban on commercial surrogacy may not be the best way forward. It's a very complex issue, many layers to it. The rights of the surrogate mothers certainly need to be protected, but people may not be able to start a family, would also hope that imposing stiff conditions will block their chances of being a parent. It's about the future of surrogate mothers, the child, and also the future of the world where the children will carry forward. Thank you for joining us. Do tweet your comment with #WorkLifeIndia.